And Witcher 3. Yes. It's
Oh yeah,
complete.
you finished it.
Nice.
Your long journey is over.
Well, the DLCs are still there. I'm not going to play them, but yeah. The main game is over.
That's an honest effort. You did it.
Yeah.
Conclusion.
Right? Perfect. 10 months. About the time it takes to bear a child. That's right. I now know the pain and suffering. No, I don't.
Whoa. Let's bring in the wife real quick for that. And
no, we can delete that. Cut that out.
Survey says, you know that's going in the pre-roll, right?
Right, that's the quote. That's to sell this thing. Jeff says,
"White male equates finishing The Witcher to childbirth of a child,
pregnancy,
to the suffrage of pregnancy."
Says it can't. Says it couldn't have been harder than The Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Do 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 do. The adult beverages are poured, the kids are asleep. Welcome to New Dad Gaming, a show about fatherhood, gaming, and new fathers figuring out their gaming lives. My name is Trevor, and I have a 1-year-old.
My name is Gavin, and I have a 1-year-old.
My name's Jeff. I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old watching from the stairs above.
Oh, really?
Yep. Now
no pressure.
He ran into his bedroom.
Man, it was great at the beginning of the show because when we started this thing, it was whose baby will interrupt with crying. We haven't had the toddler being funny, like kicking and screaming in the background. That'd be a riot.
Yeah. Well, like he might just walk down here half naked and just say hi. Who knows? He's laughing at that joke.
You're feeding. Yeah, I was gonna say you're feeding with ideas. What do you think is gonna happen?
I don't know what you're talking about. Once he hears his name, he'll do it. But
I just hope you don't notice.
Kid or your dog?
Yeah. He just sits on
I really hope you don't notice. Like, what? Yeah, quietly.
Yeah.
And then you start talking like, well, never mind. I don't want you to talk bad about him with an earshot.
No. We're trying to hold him down now.
I'm really hoping for the moment where I have to interrupt Jeff mid-conversation to let him know what his kid's doing behind him.
Yeah.
Man, can you imagine if we witnessed the granola bar heist live?
Oh my god. Are you kidding me?
Like
well,
at least Looney Tunes style.
Yeah.
Looney Tunes style Picatello. Was it Picatello? The violin.
Well, that could be.
Is it Piccolo?
No. Piccolo.
Piccolo is from Dragon Ball Z. Like what? Oh, that was Picatello.
I don't know. Google will tell
Anyways,
us.
the violin tapping. Do 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 do.
What's funny? His DS is right here, right? So he could be doing that, trying to get his DS and then go back upstairs, try and do it in his bedroom.
Man, kid heist. Did you guys ever do kid heists when you were like? I remember we used to. There's 4 of us, and we were all upstairs. Rooms relatively close together, and we used to just love like messing with each other late at night. So there's like a lot of memories of my dad having to like come upstairs and referee to make sure all 4 kids would like be quiet.
Yes, we would do Morse code on the wall and stuff, and like that wasn't quiet. That was not a quiet thing to do.
No.
And we'd whisper, which to a kid is not whispering; it's yelling. It's like
horse yelling. Yeah,
yeah, it's not.
This is fascinating to me because I was an only child, but like siblings, they're kind of like it's like a POW camp. It's bedtime. We're doing Morse code, and it's like what sort of great escape heist thing can we do with it? Mom and dad noticing.
Yeah, like, I remember my dad's like sitting on the top of the stairs with his newspaper and a beer, and like we're trying to like huck pillows ever so gracefully over top of his head so he wouldn't notice. So just like this pillow going over top. Hey, what? We're in our beds.
Like he didn't notice, right?
Oh, there was just a point, but yeah, you certainly wouldn't want him to notice when that was going on. Oh yeah, the trying to get stuff past parents so ineptly.
You knew, like I knew every creak in our house, like every floorboard that squeaked. You know which ones to avoid. You could do that thing blind and just somehow make it downstairs. I remember doing that.
Yeah, fourth step
Trial
is a
and error,
giveaway.
though. Yeah, it's just you got caught this time. 50th try later.
I'm doing that now. Like I know what parts of our floor are a little squeaky, so I'm like
Yep.
sleeping by her room, and I don't want to wake her up. Like I know what part of the floor to like skip.
It comes.
That's a weird.
It's all full circle.
Yeah, there's one rated. Geez, yeah, that's caught me 3 or 4 times. Where there's this one going down the stairs at our place here, and just it is a cry from hell. Like when you step on that stair, like it is just like it awakes everything. So like all of a sudden, it's just this big lurch over top to desperately get down, and you forget once, and just there goes your night.
That's it.
Oh, so gentlemen, how was your week in fatherhood and gaming?
Mine was kind of just steady as she goes, sort of thing. Like it was, as far as fatherhood, it was pretty solid week. Lots of fun times. We did some Halloween costume shopping yesterday. That was fun.
I'm sure your daughter had a big say in what you wanted to be.
Yeah, she had a lot of say in it. What else? Also with fatherhood and just the idea of no such thing as sick days kind of thing. Like I had a mild head cold hit me on like I think Tuesday. But like I did feel it coming on, so like that night I just loaded myself with vitamins and tea and everything and then went to bed with like extra blankets and just burnt it out of me. So just recognizing the sensation of like, okay, something's brewing, and then getting on it early, and I think I slept like 10 hours. But just like I'm not gonna let this thing get a foothold, and it worked. Like I managed to kind of just nip it in the bud before it really took root, and then like I still had a bit of linger throughout, but not this sort of like incapacitating sickness that would require me to be like, oh, I can't go to work, or like I can't look after baby today. Like I was able to still kind of keep on target, but that was, it was also great too. Like my wife brought me tea when I was working the next day, and she was really good about just getting me set up so that way I could sleep 10 hours straight. And yeah, as far as gaming goes, I'm starting to get better at Mortal Kombat. As in, I'm good enough to enjoy it.
Yeah.
The story mode I'm actually really digging for a fighting game. Like it feels like I'm watching a really campy kung fu movie, but then I get to take control during the fights, and I really am digging that. It's a lot of fun. They're doing neat little like flashback stories where you play as these characters and their first interaction, which was basically just their first fight, and then you get to play them again in the present day, and it's now their new fight. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I finished off that Deadly Tower of Monsters game. It was charming. I really liked it for a nice little fun smash everything with a rod and ray gun. It was good. A nice little indie title. Anybody who likes old sci-fi camp, I highly recommend it. It's got some kind of fun fourth wall breaking stuff at the end, which had some decent humor at some pretty solid writing. So yeah, it was fun. It's definitely worth picking up, especially if you find it for a good price. Like definitely get it. And even at its full price, it's an enjoyable experience. I think I played it. I think it was about 6 hours start to finish. And there's probably a few things that I might have missed that I can probably go back through and find out. So yeah, it was fun. Yeah, I think that's about it. I've also been ripping through Bob's Burgers because it's amazing, and I've officially become a fan of Iron Maiden. A little late to the party, but
yeah.
But yeah, I've been listening to a lot of that lately. Just sort of, just got into it. So yeah,
Lulls the baby to sleep, right?
Oh yeah.
To the hills, your name.
Nothing, no lullaby better than Aces High.
Nice.
That was awesome. Jeff, yourself?
Well, I guess with Iron Maiden there comes funerals. I don't know. I don't know how to transition that.
Yeah. That's perfect. What are you talking about? All their
metal.
what's the name of the guy, their mascot?
Oh,
The ghoul guy.
Eddie Death something. I should know this.
Wasn't it something? Wasn't it a play on Union Jack? Like,
yeah.
anyways, Death Guy. You were in
Perfect.
That's perfect.
All right.
Don't undersell it.
That was
a perfect segue.
Awesome. So, yes, unfortunately, we had a funeral this weekend. One of my wife's grandfather died, and it was they were expecting it. He had his last rites read to him, and then a couple of days later he passed away. So everyone had to gather for the funeral, and being without a babysitter, because her side takes the kids, we had to take the kids to the funeral. So we were prepared for some questions, and I must say, for a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, they had tons of questions that were all well-founded. It was open casket, so they went right up. They didn't have any qualms. It wasn't weird or anything. They just wanted to know, and we're very fact-based parenting, right? So we'll tell them. We won't sugarcoat it too much. Obviously, we're not going to go into crazy facts like his heart stopped beating, his brain's dead. Just leave him alone.
You'll be there one day too.
Yeah, everyone dies. We're not going to do anything like that. But we'll explain the situation. What happened. Why does he look like he looks like? Because they're kind of done up differently when they're sitting there or lying down there. But the kids were really good. They kind of accepted everything. They were very respectful of the place, so they weren't running around crazy. Not to say that there weren't a few instances where that happened, but luckily the funeral home had this old CRT TV in this one room, and they put on DVDs for the kids from I think it was 2002, some Disney 2002
Whatever,
movie.
Man.
Whatever works.
Get it in there.
It held them.
As long as it's not like embalming lessons, you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right. It just skips halfway through. Oh my god.
Like a mortuary safety video.
Like a Dexter episode or something. They're like, whoa. Hold on.
When cremating, you'll find that.
But to lighten up the mood a little bit, they had the mass the next day. So everybody was in church, and I myself's we're not really churchgoers. So it was brand new to the kids. They didn't know how to sit still for a full hour. Obviously, that's kind of hard to do. So when they shuffle down the casket to the front and the priest comes out, my son, the 3-year-old, decided, where everyone else is quiet, decided to hum the Darth Vader song.
Oh my god.
Because the priest came out in this cape, right? It wasn't black, but white. Dead silence. Dun, 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 and he knows it off by heart. He's watched Star Wars till the end. Made us laugh, made the front row laugh. I think it made because grandmother laugh, or at least giggle or turn around. So I think it lightened it up. It was perfect. Everyone was just in this eerie, somber kind of mood, and then you hear Darth Vader and kind of cheer up.
Jeez,
but
that's so perfect. Wow.
Yeah, that's the beautiful, unfiltered world of children. It's just they don't care. They don't care.
Do what you want.
Yeah. The comedic timing on that. It's just
funniest things.
It was perfect. And then after that, he proceeded to point to all these, they had stained glass everywhere, and it has a bunch of scenes. I couldn't name them, but lots of disciples, I think, going around, and they're all in different colors. So he's naming off Power Rangers for each of us. Because that's what he recognizes. Daddy, you're the green guy. Daddy, mommy, you're the red guy. So it was fun to have. I hope other people appreciated it, because we did. Because it made it go by a little quicker.
He has the giant cat dinosaur. You're yes.
Yeah. So no, it was a good lesson. So they weren't, wasn't too bad.
That's yeah.
Darth Vader theme though. I'll never get over that. I wish I taped it, but obviously I'm not going to tape a funeral. But
yeah, exactly.
This could be hilarious. Wait
amazing. Get the selfie stick out.
It's like you need one of those like police officer body cams.
Yes, all the time. Yeah.
Just like because they'll do stuff where you're just like that. Like you don't see it coming. There's no warning, no lead up. Like there's no hint. It's just it could be just normal run of the mill playtime, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, now's time for a headstand. Okay.
Yeah.
Why not?
No one's gonna believe me.
Stand on my head. Okay. I was just lying on your rug, but you climb on top of me like a little spider monkey, then whatever. It floats your boat, baby.
Yeah. So that was my weekend.
That
and then in terms of gaming, finally beat Witcher 3. So
what's happened?
Took a while. Finally did it.
Like again, every time I've ever seen you on PS4, like that whole network thing.
Yeah.
It's always Witcher 3.
I know.
Every single time.
Had to get it done. Amazing game. Probably one of my top 2 of all time. I think Last of Us still holds that spot. But it is definitely up there. The detail in it is amazing. The way the story interweaves with other side quests that I didn't even get to. I left the whole world map full of side quests left. But when you're done, you can go and do them. And it doesn't fail you on those, which is great. I love it.
That's nice.
So you can go back.
You can go to them or not. Like
yeah. Well, kick button and I have the best gear.
It's difficult when like the side quests are tied with the main quest in the sense of like an expiration date. Where it's like, oh, you hit chapter 3, so all the chapter 2 side quests are gone.
It's like, done,
and there's a really sweet looking path that says like, oh, well, you didn't complete that in a second. Like, come on.
There are a couple time ones though that make sense. It's like if one side quest was like, oh, this girl's being attacked by a werewolf in the forest, you should go help her. Okay, I'll do that. And then I never did it. And then like 4 hours later in the game time, they're like, yeah, you failed this quest. She's dead. Like,
fair enough.
Yeah. So like that stuff I don't mind.
Yeah. There's like
I'm lazy.
It adds consequence to your decision.
But
if it's somebody who's like, my radish farm field is infested with like maggots. It's like, I can get to that.
Yeah.
Whatever. The radishes, who cares?
Deal. Yeah, exactly. So no,
that's awesome. So
pretty happy.
Like what would you say was your total time spent
in that game?
There's chances I would save game had a time log for you, but like just if you streamline the main story in the game, what's sort of the estimate? Like
if it's the main game plus I think a few side quests you have to do to get the main one done, just the size of those ones, it's probably an 80-hour game. I think I probably spent 140 plus hours in there just doing it and getting the right armor set and weapon set. And I didn't even go into half those side quests. So there's a lot of game there. And
I've been contemplating that one. I think maybe that will be something after the holiday season. Because I want to get through Uncharted 4. I haven't cracked into that yet. And I'm curious about Mirror's Edge too. I watched there's a streaming thing that the one game studio that I'm working with right now does weekly. And this week they did a new Mirror's Edge game, and it looked pretty cool. And I played the first one, I enjoyed it, and this one looked like a lot of fun too. So that's been on my radar, along with a few others. But The Witcher's always intrigued me. Like the previous ones always looked stunning. The third one just looked like the perfect storm of good choices, design-wise and visuals and all that. So I'm happy to hear that you really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was really good. But yeah, an investment for sure.
Yeah,
spend a year, you'll get it.
But that's like a year. It's great too. It's just a great story because they put out the game and they became wildly popular and they made profit and they stuck to a DLC schedule which they released for free to the game.
Yep.
And the support was really great and people loved it across the board. There's no real controversy by any means. Like it was just well reviewed, well liked, really well put together. Everything was in it. No nonsense DLC or trying to like bilk them out of like money afterwards.
Nope.
And just top to bottom, like that's a great gaming story if nothing else. Like that was great to see all around with Witcher 3.
It's like quality product with really great commitment to the customers. Like, here's our product, we stand behind it, and here's some other ways that we wanted to make our product better, and thank you for purchasing it and supporting our company. Here's some additional content because we can afford the overhead to do this because the game is doing so well. I think it's a really great story in showing that the players can be respected and not hit with paywalls and like micro dividing everything up into paid for downloadable content.
Yeah.
And the company that's actually developing and making the thing can still be successful and keep their lights on and pay their employees and prepare for future developments. Like, you can have both. Like, you don't need to chunk everything up into, little packs that everybody has to buy. We're going to use Star Wars Battlefront. It's stuff like that where it's just, you have it done. It's done. Just put it together and don't microtransaction it out into other things. Like, just And then see it. Like, it's like The Witcher is one of the best viewed and the happiest player-based games in recent years because of that. Like, it wasn't just because it was a quality game; it was because the developers and the studio behind it really had a lot of respect for the people who purchased the product from them.
Yeah, even when you purchase it, you get a handwritten note. Well, handwritten in that it's been signed, computerized. Sure. Not one guy is like, handwriting them all, but you get that little note.
Employees blew the rest.
Yeah. You're like, thank you for purchasing. We did all this work, and here's your free stuff, and here's the soundtrack you get with it, and here's your little game manual that you never get, and here's a map that you get. It's like you don't get that stuff anymore. You go buy Call of Duty or whatever, and it comes with the disc and maybe a cover, a reversible cover. I don't know like what you get anymore. So
I think you honestly sold me on it, Jeff. I think I'm going to pick it up, even just for the sake of, like, even if I never finish it.
Yeah.
Just say, like, you know what, I want to support these developers. Like, I want to pick the game up. I want to pick it up new. And I want to. I just really wanted to play, but just knowing like how good they've been, it's like, yeah, you know what, I'll get behind that.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's a good game for sure. But enough about my games, Trevor. You've been up to.
Did Trevor finally decide what he wants to play tonight?
Yeah, let's see. Witcher 3.
Never. Witcher 3, yeah. Because if there's anything I like, it's like unfinishable quests.
Yeah, that's right.
I will admit, Trevor, I had one of your moments last week where I sat down to my Steam library because, like, okay, I got some time at the computer. My wife was finishing up a show, so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to let her finish that show before we watch something together. And I looked at my Steam library. I'm like, okay, that's not installed. That is, I don't want to get back into that. That's it. Okay, maybe not that one. I'm just watching the clock tick. I'm like, okay, well, maybe you, but yeah, you're a platformer. I don't want to do a platformer. Like, I don't want to play that. And just looking at this library, it's like, and then eventually I'm like, just watch an episode of Bob's Burgers.
It's like, oh yeah, like the end of
Bob's Burgers. Like, wow, I had a Trevor moment where I just froze and I couldn't play anything. They're like, fine.
I'm quickly becoming a verb. I like that. It's like, Trevor.
I Trevored it. Oh no.
Oh, I Trevored it. I Trevored my time.
There's been some situations. There's been somewhere I've literally just thrown myself at a game. I wasn't, as opposed to trying to think about the best. It's just like Overwatch, fine. Just to choose something because I didn't know otherwise. I would just barrel down that hole and just waste time on like the internet or something instead. That was good. So this week it was so Gravity Rush, which took a bit of a. Still going great, and I cannot stress enough how amazing it feels to throw yourself around. I've never seen flying in a game be this fulfilling. Like, it is so cool the way you get to throw yourself about. Unbelievable.
I hear a butt coming. There's a butt.
Oh no, there's no butts on that one.
Okay, all right.
That flying will just that'll go down as some of the most satisfying movement I've ever had in a game.
Cool.
Willing to say it. And then that paired with the level design, like how on Earth they came at 4 sections of be climbable 4 ways, like all dimensions of it, right? And they don't skip on the maps. Like the maps are relatively big and intricate too. Like there's alleyways, and the alleyway will have a section that goes down, and then you're kind of underneath. Then you jump up to the ceiling, and there's this like ring of collectibles you can get. The upgrade system is still respectful. I guess you could almost call it, just where you don't have to go way out of your way to get enough collectibles to feel like you're powerful enough to finish the levels. The only thing that kind of happened was it pulled a classic game thing where you went to one section. I guess it's relatively spoiler, but this is like a 12-year-old game.
Yeah.
So, you went to one part of the world where time was at a different...
Princesses in another castle.
Yeah, I was about to say that same one.
Spoiler alert, when the little ball hits a brick, it disappears and then comes back down towards you. So you go to a different part, time moves at a different clip, you return, and things have changed. A year has passed since you went away, although it only felt like 20 minutes to you. And vis-a-vis, it's like, okay, now everything's kind of new again, and you have to do a bunch of, not the same quests, but just... No. At that point, you're now looking out at the game and like, oh, how far out are you going to go now? Because at that point, like, it had been progressing really nicely, and it seemed like this is going to be a nice, tight package of a game. And instead, now it's arrived at this point, and it's saying like, I don't know how much longer they're going to stretch this. Like, is this thing going to be like another? Am I only a quarter of the way through the game? Am I halfway through the game? I had thought I was probably about 3/4 of the way through. And I could easily be just a quarter. Wow. Like I'm totally unsure.
So essentially, the game helped you get a really good start on building a sandcastle, and then it just walked up and kicked it over.
And then sat on it,
and then a pit just opened up and sucked it down. No, it's still, it seems to be progressing at a decent clip, but some bits are just not falling into place where like you're starting to see a conclusion. Or the big boss battle is coming. Like there's still so many kind of unanswered questions that this protagonist has been answering, that it's just like, it feels like I'm like probably only halfway, and that's going to start getting tiring. So bit of a turn. Loving it though, still going through it. It probably will. If it does like keep disrespecting time, I think I might drop it and get something else. Now, it's funny. Otherwise, there's a bunch of the hockey of all games. It was NHL 2016, so last year's version. I just happened to have a big week of live sports. Like I got to literally 3 matches. I got to see 3 hockey games recently. Wow. So it just kind of put me into that mood. And heck, I even played a game of hockey for the first time in like 6 months. So between all of that, I just got into a bit of a hockey mood and been playing that a bunch. And after the initial shock of coming from like 2012 to 2016, once you start to get into this, start to get into the systems, it's like, okay. And one thing about the NHL series is like generally every year there was the trick to score.
Yeah.
In the one year it was, okay, well, you got to deke this and then shoot, then you'll get it. The one year it was one-timers. Like if you were going to score, you had to just do a one-timer. Every goal.
Which one was that? Was that 93 or 94? There was like a wraparound goal one too. I remember playing the old games, 93 maybe, and you just wrap around no matter what. You'd always score.
That was the one. Yeah, this is even more recent. I think it was something like 2008 or 2010. It was just like the one-timer version. You want a goal, you have to one-timer it. This one feels a bit more natural, actually. Like it, and I can only imagine what the 17 feels like. But 2016, like just you get in there and you get a good shot, and sometimes it just goes in, which is really great. Like one of the things I'll always detract from is commonly you can never shoot and score. Like it's got to be a one-timer, deflection, wrap around, like you said, deke. Like you can't just have a really great shot. So that one improved. Anyways, surprisingly having a great time with it. Half tempted to pick up the new one. There was a advertisement that popped up in game for a discount on the new one. I was just like, do I want the new one? Although I can't. Yeah, it just feels, I don't know that I think there's a bunch of features about like game management and career mode and just a bunch of things that like I'm literally just hopping and playing exhibition matches. So I don't think I'd take advantage of like a fifth of it. So probably stay happily in the past. I
never understood with those games, like why wouldn't you get a discount on the next one? Do you know what I mean? Like if you bought into like NHL 16, 17 is going to be pretty much the same. Just rosters have switched. So why wouldn't they give you like, hey, 20%?
Yeah.
But I guess enough people just don't care and they buy it anyway.
Yeah, probably because they don't never have had to.
Like Adobe software was like once you had a license, you could get the upgrade version as opposed to the full version. And then now it's just like a subscription base. So maybe that's where the NHL series should go.
Oh, don't say that. They're totally going to do that now. Let's put it out there.
That's going to get bleeped in post, everybody. Just so you know, I had that idea.
It's like a premonition of the future. Oh no, subscription based.
You know, if the studio got a hold of that idea, they would be like, wait a second. We could totally Scrooge McDuck into money every day if we just applied this business model.
Yeah.
Man, monthly fee.
New Dad Gaming.
Yeah, monthly, so you get all the updates. And if you want to participate in the monthly cup or whatever they have, you have to pay the fee every month.
Stop it. Just stop it.
Although I just had like I said, the weekly crisis this week. I was thinking, I had a moment of meditation where I was just at an event and I had like an hour to think. Like I didn't really have anything to do there.
Just during the hockey game?
Yeah, definitely not the hockey.
I'm honestly jealous of you having an hour to think.
Yeah, it's wild. Like some good think time. Haven't had that in a bit. And just it was the thinking was, as much as I like to stay up and do things at night, be it work, like I tend to work a lot at night, video games, of course, or just reading or internet, like any of those things, like as much as I'd love to stay up and I've always been a late night type of person. And also just generally, I've never really operated on much sleep within a decent amount of comfort. But now, especially just with my son waking up every day at 5:30 or 6 and me having to wake up, it's like, it would make a lot more sense if you'd go to bed at like 10:30. Like you're going to feel a lot better if you would just go to bed.
You would.
And I would. And it's just, that feels like a little part of me that's good. Like that feels like me killing a little part of me. Like I've always had those moments at night where that's me. Like that's my little bit of time, and it's games, work, study, like any number of things. And it's just like, if I murder that, I'll be less tired. And that's I don't know, it's an interesting battle because getting a better amount of sleep is never proven to be a bad thing.
Well, why don't you do that for a while?
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Why don't you do that for a while? And then, your son's not going to always wake up at 5:30.
Yeah.
Right. I've been told that before.
No, you can sleep train them until when they're older to notice. Then you can sleep train them. Get like a little alarm clock. Like we have an alarm clock that goes yellow like the sun, and that's when he's allowed to wake up and disturb us. Otherwise, it's blue. That means you're in your bed. You're not getting.
Should not be red. Like back to bed.
I'm like a vampire or something. Just red eyes.
Something I do sometimes is like, because I have the same sort of thing where it's like the family's gone to bed, I got the place myself, and just sit and watch a movie or play some video games or just do some reading or some research. But like there are certain times where it's like I gotta recharge the batteries. So like rather than it being like a consistent rule, just sort of be like, okay, you know what? I'm feeling a little drained. I think this week I'm gonna maybe try to get 2 or 3 nights where I go to bed about an hour earlier. And then that sort of just helps, pay off some of the sleep debt that you're having from having to get up so early. Because that's the thing too, is like now that really I used to get up consistently about 7:30. Or now it's like more like 7. I know, big change.
How do you manage?
I know. Well, actually, what was funny is before the 7:30 wake up, like my wife and I used to sleep in till like almost 9 because we're both independent contractors.
Those are the days.
And then now I'm like, I don't know what that is anymore. Like I don't know what the idea of sleeping. Like I'm shocked if I get up and the sun is beaten me to it. Like, like that surprises me now.
Well, then you're like, I've wasted so much time. I could have done so many things.
That's the thing. Is like, I had
understand.
another friend of mine who's also a dad, and he was a dad well before us. But he told me, he's like, you're gonna be shocked after you become a dad, thinking back to how much time you wasted, like how much time you had, and how little you appreciated it. And it's so very true because you're like, yeah, it's like there's all these times where it's like I lazed about. Like like Saturdays was a day where my wife would go to work and I'd have the house to myself, and I would just have the day off and I had the place to myself, and like the dog and I would sleep in. That was it. That was our plan to encompass most of the morning. It was like, yeah, dog and I are gonna sleep in. Maybe like I'm gonna set the alarm just for the fun of hitting the snooze button a half dozen times.
Wee Saturday.
No, it's so true. Because 10:30, 11 o'clock was our wake up time kind of thing before kids.
Oh, I was thinking of that exact one. Is just like, we would sleep until like 11:30, and just I can't imagine any world where that exists now.
Well, what's funny too is like this morning, like I was getting ready for a Skype call with some other people that I'm working with, and
hold on, do you have another podcast you're not telling us about?
So, like we're doing our weekly sort of
newer dad gaming.
And someone was like, "Oh, we're just waiting for the coffee maker." And like I've already had a couple, like they're already ending.
Yeah.
And like I'm well awake. I've been awake. Like there's like, oh, this person's just kind of getting to their thing, and it's like, I'm like, guys, I've been up for like almost 4 hours now. Like literally before my morning shower today, I cleaned the bathroom. Like that was the time. Like, hey, this is a good time for me to finally get to that chore. Like I did chores before getting ready, and it's weird, like that sort of, because like those opportunities you can't really find other chances to do those, because it's like when the baby's up or when the baby's not in her high chair having breakfast with the other parent, you're not free to do that. So it's like both my wife and I are finding alternate solutions to like time management, but not just time management for chores and responsibilities, but also time management for like, just time for ourselves. So as you said, like, end of day, like family's asleep, we get to sort of, like, that's when my wife and I get to watch shows together. That's when I get to play some video games, where we get to play some games together. We're going to be shifting over to the one nap schedule soon, which we lose that little bit of time in the morning where we could just have some downtime and read a book or something. But in exchange for that, the afternoon nap is longer, so we can, like in the afternoon, you can actually tuck into something a little bit more substantial. Like you actually watch a whole movie if you wanted to, because baby's sleeping. Where now it's like the duration of time that they're napping isn't long enough to do something like that. So I think even for like playing video games, having that extra bit of time could be a lot of fun. So, but yeah, it's finding those windows and getting stuff done, whether it's just stuff for your own sanity.
No, I think that's some good advice though, as far as like perhaps not seeing it as a binary where it's like, okay, now it's all dead. Late night self time is all dead, or late night self time will go on to the detriment of the rest of my life. So
end of day, you're like, okay, what do I need more? Do I need to unwind or do I need sleep?
Don't make me choose. Why can't it be both? That's a
car that you can wear when you're sleeping. It like augments your dreams.
Oh yeah. Segway.
Universe.
Now, like the question becomes is like, is the death segue better, or is that VR segue? I'm gonna give it to death. I think the death segue with Iron Maiden was pretty smooth. Yeah, man. So 13th PSVR. Like if I can find it, I will buy it. Like I am just, especially after trying it, like I'm ready to go. Like even for the content, I think I have concerns, much like everybody else, about the long-term viability of it. Or is this something that developers are going to really embrace? Is this going to be the next Vita? as far as like there's not really going to be that much content, especially given that it's PlayStation specific as opposed to, let's say, VR on computer. But like I'm convinced, I'm ready to go. I can't imagine when I'm going to find it, because like all the pre-orders were sold out in March.
Yeah.
Right. And I know they're going to have some for day one units at like Best Buy and EB Games. I'm not going to camp out though. Like I'm not about to go spend the entire night.
Do you have any family that live in like smaller towns?
Oh yeah,
I got
hit them up.
Yeah, get out of the greater Toronto area, because you're not going to find one here. But like, go hang out.
Should just put a bounty on it.
Yeah,
put a bounty out there now, right now, just to those listening.
Yeah, to all of our listeners. Anyway, to the man who finds me case of your finest beers. Yeah, I think I could strategically like put it out there and see if someone could find it. I generally hope it'll be within the first couple of weeks, although it's you just sit being, I don't know, it's hard to gauge because it's like an expensive thing, right? Like that is, and it doesn't quite have the public hype. It's certainly hyped. Like I think people are relatively excited for it, but are they $800 gaming periphery hyped as opposed to like the iPhone, for instance? Like it's hard to tell. So I'm curious to see the demand and how long this thing stays out of
I don't think
quantities.
People,
like it's
I think people are hyped, but not hyped enough. I think a lot of people are like wait and see because of the price tag, and if PS or PlayStation would support it, like the points you said with the Vita and even the Move controllers.
Yeah.
Like, like, look at this great thing, and then it dies. So I think VR is VR is slightly different. Like I think it's got a life to it because other companies are doing it and pushing it, but they're
doing the Move thing too, though. If you look at the Wii, like PlayStation Move was there to emulate what another company was already doing.
Yeah.
And the same PlayStation VR is emulating what Oculus Rift was doing, with the exception of supporting Donald Trump. But
such a bad thing for them.
Topical.
Oh man, did they ever take a hit? That's what you get. But yeah, it's when you see these sort of more experimental, interactive opportunities, do you get in on the ground floor? Is there a lot of added benefit to getting in on the ground floor, or will your experience be just as fulfilling if you hold out and just wait to see how everything settles out? Because like sometimes, like I'm very much the type of person who likes to just hang back, and it's like if I was in a war, I wouldn't be the first one over the trench.
Hold on, let's see what happens, guys. I'm just gonna hang back here.
Everybody run!
So we're on Normandy. No, I'm just gonna wait in the boat. Just hold on.
I'll be part of the wave, but I'm gonna be in like the boat 8.
I get it. Like, there's no like absolute killer app, but I think Valkyrie did it for me.
Valkyrie. Yeah, I was gonna say no. Valkyrie.
Like
you
that.
Played it.
Oh, it's amazing. And hearing Star Wars Battlefront, and that I get it for free because I own Battlefront, the X-wing thing that everyone's been talking about. Yeah. If I see footage of that, that will be crazy. And
I think Project Cars is really gonna do it too. Like sitting.
Yep. Drive Club, I think, too.
The car seat. Oh, sorry, is it Drive? Oh, maybe it's Drive Club actually. Yeah. So Drive Club and just being in the car and being able to look to your left and check out the rearview mirror of the guy like going behind you, like that's. Honestly, I think there's going to be sleepers like Super Hypercube.
Yep,
where it's just full embracing of a truly virtual world as opposed to trying to mock reality.
Is that Phil Fish? I thought it was Fez.
Super Hypercube, maybe.
Cube.
I could see it. Like it's got but when I hear people who've tried VR and especially skeptics who've tried VR but then they played that game, you kind of just turn their head a little bit because what you imagine is, oh, I'm in a car, or oh, I'm like in an airplane or a spaceship. You know, you imagine like virtual reality, literally. But what if that you're transported into these fantastical worlds, more than just even just classic fantasy like Tolkien, Lord of the Rings stuff. Like it's futuristic, colorful explosions, and you're just in this different space, this different type of reality. Like that. To hear skeptics talk about that experience could be transformative to hyperbolic, but I think it's really interesting application of it.
That's what they have to like hit on though, because I think right now it's like, here's your experience. Here's this experience. So we're less games and more like, hey, let's try this out. So I think they need the full-fledged, this is your game. You can play it start to finish in VR. It's built for it. Work it.
So if you see, for instance, oh, sorry, go ahead.
We're still figuring out what VR is. Like, what is its capabilities? How far do we push the reality that you're experiencing virtually? There's a lot of really. Oh, and also Jeff, you were correct. Phil Fish and Polytron are, that's
nice.
That's theirs. It's. I think right now, because it's still very much in its infancy, like you're seeing an offshoot of games that are being like retrofitted and like reverse engineered to kind of MacGyver jerry rig it to fit VR. But then you have other ones that are just being designed from the ground up to utilize that experience. And it's, I think right now, before you can see like that full, like, we'll put it this way, is third-person action games. Like, how many decades did we need third-person action games and action RPG games to get to The Witcher 3?
Right.
You know, it's so like to get to that sort of, even the consoles as they stand now, minus the VR, like how many console generations, like, you know, you look at like the Atari 2600, and then like all the way up, like, and then now we're just starting to get these complete cohesive packages. But when you look at like the first, like the Atari 2600 had a huge gambit of different types of games, everything platformers to weird sort of like faux 3D tank gun battles and stuff. So I think right now we're seeing, like, what we're seeing in VR now, although extremely polished and very artistic, is like the Atari 2600 of what VR will be. So it's that sort of thing, is like figuring out where does it grow, and like which of these seeds that are being planted are the ones that are going to take root and germinate into the thing that's going to be. And that's the waiting period that we're in right now.
Yeah.
But so my commitment to it is literally on my way to work. I actually passed a Best Buy and I guess technically two EV games. There's a bigger one on the street. There's one inside the mall.
Yeah.
So my commitment to it would be, I will be there at 9:00 and I'll check those 3 spots the day of, so 13th, and check those 3 places to see if any of them have like a spare unit. And that's about it. Like, you know, I'm not gonna do the overnight. I'm not gonna pay some exorbitant price.
Yeah.
I saw on eBay people selling their pre-orders. like they had screenshots of their online purchase. And they're like, hey, you can buy this pre-purchase for, you know, whatever big amount. I think it's like 1,500, like for some of them.
Yeah. And even then, it's not guaranteed to be there on launch day. Like some of those things take a week.
We won't go that far, but like I said, if I can get a hold of it, so I think we'll have another episode of this before launch day, because we're only at the 3rd, so we got 10 days.
Yeah.
The next episode will
you'll just have it on.
Will be done from a tent in front of the EV games.
I somehow found it. Well, I'm live here on location waiting for
him. On Young Street. I'm 400 in line. I think I got a good chance.
I got my tent. I got my piss jug. I got everything we need.
Yeah.
I got my piss jug and my apple juice jug. I've only confused them twice.
I like those odds. Speaking of piss jugs, do we talk about beer now?
Wow, the transitions are off the charts.
Okay, segue word. I just went there. Whoa.
Oh, have a good beer this week too. I like mine.
I was about to say, it tastes like piss.
I hope you guys like your beers after that. So let's go ahead and do our beer picks for the week. So this is actually this is an opportunity for me to talk about one I've talked about before, but I noticed it came in stubby bottles now, which was I'm a sucker for aesthetics, I gotta say. So they did a label old timey, and it's done in the stubby bottles, which I absolutely love. So I picked up more of the Coors Banquet beer.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
It's fantastic. I already had one previously, so I'm holding a closed one. Actually, got some perspiration on it, looking absolutely delicious. so quick tip though. I love this bottle. I don't necessarily regret the purchase. It absolutely tastes better in the can.
Does it? Wow.
I don't know. And I had somebody else confirm this. Like I had somebody who had this with me, and then we went to one of those hockey games that we had the can at the stadium. Much better in the can. I don't know how. I don't know why. Yeah.
that's
I don't know.
peculiar.
It's like
Yeah,
the
right.
glass reveals its true taste, and the can like conceals it.
But no, but I've had the thing on tap as well. I've had it in all manners, and ultimately, again, when you say Coors, like you instantly go to Coors Light,
Yep.
which is kind of like swamp water. Like it's very watery. Like it's not really regarded obviously as a delicious beer necessarily, especially from kind of like this craft thing we like to do. So you would scoff at Coors Banquet, but if you look into it, I think it was my dad who explained it to me. Like they have a pretty good beer history classically, and this banquet stuff is like literally done for big banquets, and it seems like this is almost a return to that heritage. So this beer it's very approachable. It's very basic in a very complimentary way, if I can say that. Like it's not overreaching. It's just a very flavorful, delicious, basic beer, and it's excellent. Like I do go for it as many times as I can. So I would encourage anybody to just kind of put aside what they think of Coors and give this one a shot. Coors Banquet. And again, if you can get it, for some reason, if you can get it in the can, that does seem to be the preferred method, unless it's on draft, of course.
As long as it's not telling me to wait for the mountains to turn blue, I will happily try it.
It's like literally, like flavor literally dies the colder it gets. Like that.
Yep.
Like, that's awful. Like, come on. Like, what are you saying? But Coors Banquet beer, I highly recommend it.
Nice.
I will give it a try. I'll quickly get into my beer pick. Jeff, this happens to be brewed in the place you're in and my wife's hometown, Oakville, Ontario.
Nice.
Cameron's Brewing. And this is actually my wife's pick. She picked me up some beer the other night, and she was like, "I'm going to get your beer for the podcast." I'm like, "Yes, please." And she picked one which is actually, before I say the name and stuff, I'll just say, really, really tasty. A nice weight to it. Like it was heavy, but not overly hoppy, which is a weird combination. Usually, like to have heavy and smooth. You don't find that very often. This is a golden lager. And yeah, had this nice density to it. It was nice and smooth. Didn't overstay its welcome. Not overly hoppy or bitter. Really liked it. It was Cameron's Brewing, Captain's Log Lager.
Nice. That's awesome.
Yeah, so when my wife saw the can and she saw the name and she was just like, "Okay, I have to get this." And then when I saw it, I'm like, "Yes, you did have to get it. Thank you for getting it."
Wow.
And actually, it's won 3 golds. Gold medal for Ontario Brewing Awards, gold in the Canadian Brewing Awards, and gold in the U.S. Open Beer Championship.
Whoa.
So it's doing well.
Yeah.
And for good reason. It was a really nice, smooth, easy drinking beer. One will satisfy you, but it won't turn you off from having another. So I highly recommend it. This is actually, as far as my beer picks, this is one of my favorites so far.
I'll have to go and get one.
It's really good.
Yeah, I was going to say that actually. Your description sold me.
Yeah.
So, man, kudos to your wife. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, she knocked it out of the park. She picked a good one there, so I might be getting a few more of those.
Perfect name.
Just like the name, really.
Yeah.
Captain's so good.
For my week, Hockley Classic, brewed in Orangeville, Ontario. It's about an hour north. Kind of tastes like an orchard, like an apple orchard. It's got very appley taste. It's not like
good way.
I'm trying to decide. It's kind
of tastes like a farm.
There's apple in it, but it's not. I don't know.
Like on purpose, or just like that's like a note that comes out of it?
There's a note that's in there. It's definitely apple or some other fall kind of like cranberry or something like that. Something's in there. Very Thanksgiving-y. So maybe it's a timely beer. Pardon?
Is it pumpkin spice?
God, no. Oh, God. But it's watery too. So it kind of waters down that, which is good. But then the beer kind of goes like the flavor of the beer doesn't come through. I wouldn't have another.
And
I will a letdown on that one, but
I will say so. Hockley, I've had great success with them, and they tend to sell this pack, and I think it's either like a 3 or a 4 pack, and they have like 3 or 4 different varieties. One of them has this like black and silver can design to it.
Yeah, there's a dark one. Maybe that's the dark. I don't know. I saw a few.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
So Hockley generally, like if you want to give that brewery another shot, like the rest of their beers I've had, like they really are fantastic. They make a good product.
Yeah, this one
looks like they might have just
didn't work for me on that one. But it's very, again, Thanksgiving's around the corner for us Canadians. Maybe that does it. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, first thing, it's generally good to celebrate both Thanksgivings, really. Just like
want
to cover all the bases.
Why not?
First turkeys and second turkeys, of course.
Yes. Seconds.
Beautiful. Great picks, everybody. So I think with that, we'll wrap it up for the week. Everybody, this has been New Dad Gaming. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or show ideas for us, you can reach us at our website, newdadgaming.com. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. You can find our podcast and subscribe on iTunes, as well as Google Play and many other podcasting services. We release this podcast weekly, and please rate, subscribe, send it around to your friends and family, especially new dads who game. Vis-a-vis the title.
Yes.
So everyone, thank you so much. Until next week, my name is Trevor, and I have a 1-year-old.
My name is Gavin, and I have a 1-year-old.
And I'm Jeff. I got a 3-year-old and now sleeping 6-year-old.
Oh, yay.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be a great when he
behind you.
Yeah, that's what you think. He's in the pillow. New kid surprise. That's gonna be a great week when he surprises us in the back.
Oh, totally. It's gonna happen.
That's the next challenge. Like the first kid to interrupt the podcast. I can see Gavin or mine like just running naked behind us. Oh boy, gotta go.
Yep.
All right, guys. See you next week.
See you.
Bye.
I just like bursting out of the couch like a shark and just tackling.
I'll have him do the podcast one week. He'll just be on the mic. I'd be like, Jeff, what? Hi guys.
Why are you so intelligible? And
yeah.
Here's my beer pick.
Yeah.